Hello everyone. Today we'll be dealing with the poem Dover Beach by Matthew Arnold. So I'll just read the poem, a few lines of the poem. The sea is calm tonight. The tide is full. The moon lies fair. So the poet is setting the situation like this. That is, it's a very beautiful night, very calm night when the sea is very calm. Tide is full and there's a fair moon there. Upon the straits, on the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. There is lights on the French coast. The lights on the French coast can be seen. And the speaker is enjoying the beauty of the calm sea when the tide is full. Suddenly, this light goes off. Okay, the light on the French coast goes off, and even then, England is seen shining faintly in that calm bay, tranquil bay. Tranquil means calm bay. Okay, come to the window, sweet is the night air. So he's inviting his beloved, come to the window because the night air is very sweet. Only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon blanched land. Listen, you hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves draw back and fling, and at their return up the high strand, begin and cease, and then begin again with tremulous cadence slow and bring the eternal note of sadness in. So it's a very beautiful night, very calm night. The tide is full. There is light on the French coast. The light suddenly goes off. Even then, the England is seen shining in that dim light. Okay, the poet in such a situation is calling his beloved to come and enjoy the sweet night air. So the poet asks her to enjoy the visual beauty of the sea meeting the moon blanched land, and also urges her to listen to the grating roar of pebbles when the waves fling upon them. So the waves come and hit the pebbles, so it creates a grating roar sound. So the poet is asking his beloved to listen to that sound of this grating roar of pebbles when the waves fling upon them. The sound of the grating roar of pebbles begin as the wave approach and cease as the wave recedes. So it's a continuous process. This sound can be heard throughout the night, and the poet is asking his beloved to listen to that sound, because when you listen carefully, you can sense an eternal note of sadness in this grating roar. Now let's see what this sadness is all about. So, this same eternal note of sadness was observed long ago by Sophocles in the Aegean Sea. Let's see how the poet puts it in his poem. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. So, when Sophocles heard the sound in the Aegean Sea, it brought into his mind the ebb and flow of human misery. Sometimes the sound goes up and sometimes the sound goes down. So sometimes the miseries are high and sometimes the miseries are low. So that is how life goes on. Even it is in, be it in Aegean Sea or be it in Greece or be it in Northern Sea in France or England, the same is what happening in case of human misery. Human beings are undergoing the same misery even after ages, even after centuries, and despite of the location to which they belong. Same is the sound that we hear on the Northern Sea. Though ages apart, human miseries still exist in all countries. Okay. So the next stanza reflects the sea of faith of man. The sea of faith of man was once too full. The sea of faith of man was once too at the full, and round the earth's shore lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled. The faith was so strong, people so indebted to their faith, So the faith was so deep then, and it laid like folds around the earth's shore. This faith protected the earth like folds. It lay like folds around the earth's shore. So it protected the earth from all the mishappenings because there was a sea of faith. The faith was as deep and strong and violent as the sea. So the mighty sea. The faith was also strong like the sea long ago. But now the sea of faith is not so full because people have lost their faith in God, and the faith in God has been decreasing since Matthew Arnold started writing in an age when the scientific discoveries were happening, and the faith in God was questioned by people all over the world. And so when science became stronger, the sea of faith started receding or declining. So the poet is lamenting of the loss of faith. But now the faith is receding from human minds. Only that long withdrawing roar of faith can be heard. The sea of faith, which was once full, is retreating now. Okay, the poet in the last paragraph wonderfully explains to his wife the importance of being true and faithful to one another. So let's just read that stanza. Our love, let's be true to one another, for the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. And we are here as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. Ah, love, let's be true to one another. Because the sea of faith is receding, people everywhere are unfaithful to each other. In this unfaithful world, when people fight for a reason which they never know at all, let us be true to, and at least let us too be, let we too be true to one another in this deceiving world. The world seems to attract us with its fake beauty and dreams. When you look at the world from outside, it seems like it's a land of dreams. Its world seems to be so new, so various, and so beautiful, but it's not like that. The reality is far from that. Hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light. There is nothing there in this world that is love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for the pain. There is nobody who is really ready to help the painful, or there is no real peace in the world. Everything is like a dilemma. You feel it's there. Everything in this world is fake. So what can we do? Let us be true to one another. So let us not deceive each other. Let's not be unfaithful to each other. Let our sea of faith be full. Let the world be deceiving, or let the world cheat us with its fake beauty, but then we are going to be true to one another, each other. So the line goes thus, and we are here as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. That is the concluding lines of this very famous poem, and you get an annotation there in almost every exam. The lines are very beautiful, and we are here as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight everywhere around us. Everyone around us is fighting. Fighting, and everywhere there are, you can hear only confused alarms of struggle and flight. Either people are fighting or they are running away from the fight. Fight or flight. Where ignorant armies clash by night. Armies are fighting in the night when there is no light. They don't know. They are ignorant armies. They don't know what they are fighting for, why they are fighting for, whom they are fighting for. They don't know what is happening, but just that they are fighting against each other. The world is full of confused and ignorant armies who fight against each other in the darkness of the night without knowing against whom they are fighting or why they are fighting. So that is the very beautiful poem by Matthew Arnold, wherein he begins the poem inviting his wife to see that very beautiful night in that when the tide is full and when the moon lies fair. He invites his beloved to see the night there. Whether there is light on the French coast or whether there is no light, you can see in that there is a tranquilence, there is a calmness in that bay. And he invites her to listen to that sound of the grating roar, right? Because there is an eternal note of sadness in. There is a note of sadness, and this same note of sadness was observed by Sophocles long ago in the Aegean, and it brought into his mind. What did that sound bring to Sophocles' mind? It brought to his mind the ebb and flow of human misery. So that is the same sound that we hear after centuries in this northern sea. Because the sea of faith was once too full. The sea of faith surrounded and protected the earth like a bright girdle. But now the sea of faith is gone. But now we can only hear that withdrawing roar, retreating roar, because the sea is no more full. The sea of faith is no more full. The sea of faith is receding, retreating, withdrawing away from us. Ah, love. So, what is the poet asking to his beloved? Ah, love, let's be true to one another. In this fake world, in this world which seems to attract us with its beauty, with its color, its dreams, its new aspirations, the world seems to attract us, but everything is fake. In this fake world where ignorant armies clash at night, when they don't know whom they are fighting, why they are fighting, or who for what reason they are fighting. So in this confused world, at least let us be true to each other. Let us not deceive each other. So hope you got a fairly good idea about the poem. That was all for the day. Thank you.